In this video, we will see how to make our Google Forms differentiated so that it's like a differentiated asynchronous experience for our students. So first of all, let's look at this example from a student view. So I've created this form for my students and I gave them this question and they have to study the picture and decide which one is the correct way to do something. So if they choose method 1 and click next, it says, yay, you know how to do it, you're great, and then they can submit the form. However, if they choose method 2 and they hit next, they get, hold on a second, and then they get some reteach built in. We showed them what the error was, and then we give them a video to watch, and then we're able to let them submit the form. That's differentiation in its simplest form. So now let's look at the critical features in Google Forms that we need to use to make that happen. So here I am in the edited version of my Google form, and the first thing I had to do was I had to use this add section feature to build in sections. So my first section was the actual question. Then I built in a section for if they got the wrong answer, and then I built in a section for if they got the right answer. Okay, so that's the 3 sections. I built those first. And then let's look at how we make the rest of that work. So going back to the question, you want to make sure you select a multiple choice question, type in your question. If you have an image for it, great, and then put in your answer choices. At the bottom of this question, make sure you make it required. And then you're going to click on the 3-dot menu and you're going to need to select go to section based on answer. What that does is it opens up this little menu to the right of your answer choices. Method 1 was the right answer, so I want to make it branch to or go to the section that said, hey, you got it right. So I'm going to click go to section 3, perfect. But method 2 was the wrong answer, so I want to force them to go to the section that says, you didn't get it quite right, and where I built in some reteach and review for them. So I'm going to click that. So now that will work when they click method 1, it goes to that section, method 2, it goes to that section, and so on, depending on how many answer choices you had. So now, for the one that they did not get quite right, you have several options here. It's always a great idea to add in a little piece like, hold on, it's okay, but we need to think about this. So we use memes. We like to use memes and make them kind of feel better. And then you can build in your own reteach options here. In our case, we added in some text for, okay, this was what the error was. This is what you needed to look at. And let's watch this little video clip to see how to review or to refresh ourselves on how the correct way to share a form. So I built in my little reteach piece, and then at the very bottom of that reteach piece, you need to make a decision. Do you want them to be forced to go back and go ahead and answer the question again and get it right this time? Or do you want them to go ahead and submit the form? So I want you to think about that depending on what you want them to do. You may even have another section where they have another question depending on how long your form is. So think about where you want them to go once they do that reteach piece and link them there. In this case, I'm going to link them back to the first question because I really would like for them to answer it again. For the perfect section where they got it right, I put in a little, like, congratulations, you got it. In this case, for adults or older kids, I could put in a cool meme. Maybe for younger kids, I'll put in something funny or cute. And then this one will automatically, since I have nothing below it, this one will allow them to just submit the form. If I had built in other sections with more questions to answer, then I could have linked this to, okay, now let's go to the next question. Now that I built in or I re-linked that one section for them to answer the question again, let me show you, let me go back to the student view to show you what will happen. So remember that we said that method 1 or method 2 is the wrong answer. So let's click that. When we click next, it linked them to that reteach piece. But because I added that part at the bottom that said, let's go back to section 1 and answer the question again, now I have a next button. And this next button brings me right back to the section. This time, hopefully, they've reviewed it and they understand it, and they're going to click method 1. And when they click next, it will come here and they're able to submit it. Obviously, if they clicked method 2, they would just keep doing this loop, and hopefully, eventually, they would figure out what was going on, right? So that's it. That's really all of the critical features needed to branch your form and create a differentiated instruction type Google form. Check this out, guys. Let me show you how we took those same ideas that we used in our differentiated form previously to create an actual lesson for some littles. So remember, the first thing we did is we built in sections. So I have my first section, which has the main question. I have the second section, which is where, we didn't quite get it right, so we're going to have some reteach here. And then I have my last section, which is, yay, you did it, right? So I've got those built in already, just like I did before. And then in this case, because we have our littles, we're using a lot of videos and images for them to be able to access our forms. So we found a YouTube video that they can start out with. And then we use some images in our question, and then a workaround on our Google Forms. One of the things you know, and we all know about Google Forms, is there's not like an audio recorder, but we want our littles to be able to answer the questions. So one of the workarounds that we like to do is do a quick screen recording where we read the question from our screen. We save it and we upload it to our own YouTube channel, and then we import that YouTube video right here. I know that's a lot of steps, but it really, really is helpful for your littles unless you have the ability to sit near them or have someone sit near them and read the questions to them. So let's look at this from a student perspective. So I'm the student, I'm in my form, and now I have the ability to watch my counting video, and it's going to be really cute and engaging. And then I get to watch that screencasting video that I, the teacher, recorded to explain to them how to answer the question. Once I've watched those two videos, now I get to come up here and I get to answer the question. And so for this first one, I'm going to go ahead and answer it wrong so you can see what it does for the student. So let's say they clicked 2 and they go to next. Because they got it wrong, now we get to watch in another, let's watch this new video because we need to practice counting again. And then I went ahead and put in the exact same question here for the sake of time, really, but you could put in a brand new question where you want them to count a different number of stars or different objects, or maybe just let them practice with the same question as I did here. So now let's say, I get it, now I understand. So they click the 4 this time, and when they hit next, it takes them to the congratulations, you did it. And then they're able to submit it. Now going back, let's say at the very, 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 very beginning, I had actually gotten it right. So if I had just clicked 4 at the very beginning instead of the 2 or the 1 or the 3 or the 5, it would have taken me straight to the congratulations, and I wouldn't have had to click on or watch that reteach part. So we just wanted to share that little snippet here to show you that you can also do this for littles, and we use that same idea of branching and differentiation.